MVP of information in the National Football League is Adam Schefter from ESPN. I would tell you to follow him on Twitter at Adam Schefter, but you all already do. I'm fairly confident that that's the case. Adam, it's Ross. Always good to talk with you. Really appreciate the time and really enjoyed your column about the top 5 off-season storylines. I guess before we get into any of that, just your thoughts on the season that was in general and the Broncos winning the Super Bowl.
Well, good morning, Russ. I appreciate the kind words, and I appreciate you having me. It's an honor to be with you, and it's an honor to come before Von Miller, who, ironically enough, on the first day of training camp, they sent Tom Jackson and Jay Harris and I to Broncos camp to open it up, Sports Center Live, the whole deal. And I remember talking to Von after the morning interviews, and he was telling me how he was in a great frame of mind. He was going to have a huge season. It was going to be special, all those things. And I had the occasion on Sunday night after the game to go into the locker room and congratulate him on the season he had, the game he had, and keeping his word, because everything he said that day unfolded throughout the course of the year and in the postseason. Because when you look at that AFC Championship game, I remember talking to some people, and they said that that was the single best game that Von Miller had ever played against the Patriots. And I think he topped it in the Super Bowl against the Carolina Panthers. You're talking about 2 incredible games that he put together at an ideal time with his contract expiring. And that's the good news for him. The bad news is if he doesn't sign a long-term deal within the next month or so, they're going to put the franchise tag on him. That's a given. So he's going nowhere. And I'm sure he doesn't mind that. And he was running in that locker room when I was in there, Ross, and talking to a bunch of the players. And C.J. Anderson said, I'm going to finish my career in Denver because I never want to have to go up against Von Miller. I never want to have to block that guy, which I thought was about as high a compliment as another player could pay to another.
So one thing I want to piggyback off of that, Adam, I think is really interesting. Let's just assume Von Miller gets the franchise tag because he's going to ask for so much money that it probably makes sense for the Broncos to give him the franchise tag. What happens with Brock Osweiler at that point?
Well, listen, first of all, Von Miller, it's not a difficult deal to do. You take the Justin Houston deal, and then you increase it some, whatever percentage you want that you think is fair, but those are the working parameters. The deal that Justin Houston signed with the Kansas City Chiefs last July. I think it was like $53 million guaranteed and big numbers, whatever they were exactly. I'd have to go back and look. It's easy enough to find those. But then you have the Brock Osweiler situation. And I think Denver has a certain value on him. And it's going to be a big value. And I think he's comfortable there. They like him. He likes Gary Kubiak. Gary Kubiak likes him. John Elway, vice versa. And I think they'd like to have Brock Osweiler back. I think they're determined to bring back Brock Osweiler. Now, if you put the tag on Von Miller, you're unable to get a long-term deal done. That could give Brock Osweiler the opportunity to go test the market and see what kind of value he has elsewhere. But I still maintain that Denver's going to pay him as much, if not more, than any team out there. Like, you and I, Ross, could do this deal for Brock Osweiler, right? Like, I think, what do you think? What do you think? $13 million a year? $14 million a year?
Yeah, I think actually, Adam, if I'm Osweiler, I think there's probably enough desperate teams out there that I'm looking for more like $18 million a year.
Ooh,
one of those deals. Yeah, one of those deals though where, look, if I'm Osweiler, I'm looking for the moon, but a deal where the first year and maybe part of the money in the second year is guaranteed, but essentially it becomes a year-to-year thing.
That's not going to be the issue. Okay, let's just use your number for example, Ross. $18 million. Okay, you're the Cleveland Browns. Are you willing to give Brock Osweiler $18 million? And we're just having this conversation. We're playing it out. You willing to give Brock Osweiler $18 million as the Cleveland Browns?
I would think about it.
Because that's the question. Because I think that Denver's going to be in a real fair situation here where they're going to be willing to reward the guy up to a certain point. And then is somebody going to go to the $18 million? That's a big number. Like, God bless Brock Osweiler if he can get that. Maybe he will.
Right.
With all the quarterback-needy teams. I just think that's a rich number. You're paying him as one of the top quarterbacks in the game for a guy who started 6 games and we think is pretty good, but we don't still know that yet.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
no, it's a fair point. We're talking with my buddy Adam Schefter, the ESPN NFL insider. Adam, what's the percentage chance that Peyton plays next year in your mind for any team?
Look, I think he's going about it just the right way. Number one, he did not serve as any type of distraction to his team, did not have any of the focus brought off them. They all got to bask in the moment. It wasn't about Peyton, even though it was about Peyton. And now he gets to take a step back and assess the situation. Look, I think everybody believes ultimately he's going to retire. But as great a player as he has been, and he's been as good as anybody, and as much as he has meant to the league, and he's meant as much as anybody, he gets to take his time and do what he wants. Now, yes, there is the roster guarantee salary that his salary becomes guaranteed on March 3rd, I think is the day. It's early March, whatever it is. So he's going to make a decision here in the next few weeks. But so what? He gets that. He's entitled to take that time to make a decision. And if he doesn't have a decision by then, which I think he will, look, it's not a hard decision to make. He is coming off a year where he gets to walk off like this if he wants, if he so chooses. But I'll say this, Russ. I do believe there'll be some other teams that are interested. Like, what if the Houston Texans would like Peyton Manning to go finish his career with them for 1 year? I don't think he's going to be willing or want to go on to another team. I don't think ultimately he'll wind up playing another year. But, again, we're just playing devil's advocate here like we did with Brock Osweiler. You're Peyton Manning. You feel like you're done. You feel like that's the way you want to end your career. Are you interested if the Houston Texans come calling, offering $18 million for 1 year when you can play in that defense, with that defense in that division, go against the Colts twice a year, get one more run with a guy in Bill O'Brien who is tremendous with quarterbacks? Does that interest you for 1 year, Ross? You tell me.
No, I'd be more interested in being the starting quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams if I was Peyton Manning.
Okay, well, if that's the case, are you willing to go to Los Angeles for 1 year, $18 million, play with that defense in that division? Again, you probably could have that option, too, if you wanted, ultimately, in the end.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I actually wrote a column this week that I think if he plays anywhere, I think that makes the most sense for him to be out. And I mean, we're talking about a guy that he understands marketing, branding. I mean, the guy mentioned Budweiser twice before he kicks Papa John on the cheek. So I think Peyton understands the opportunities that might be there out in Los Angeles. Adam, I got a break. Thank you so much. Going to be a big offseason. It seems like Peyton is one of the next big things on the docket to see what he ends up doing. Thanks so much for hopping aboard.
I appreciate having me, Russ. Thanks very much. Have a great day.
Absolutely. There he is, Adam Schefter, the ESPN NFL insider. He is the best, does a terrific job.